And with that, we're going to go ahead and get right on into Twig. Welcome to Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show that tackles everything from ScarJo ending OpenAI's voice model to Adult Swim taking us back in time with some games in between. If you're listening on the podcast version of the show, be sure to give us a good review. Click that like if you're ever on YouTube, or come and listen live on Twitch every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I am Nerd Pastor Nate. I'm the pastor here at Checkpoint Church. We are a real church. I am a real pastor in this place, and this is one of the things that we do as a part of our ministry. I do want to, before we get started with our Watch, Play, Read, give a little shout out. You've heard me talk before about Spotify and leaving reviews and that kind of thing, but now I have an incentive. Now I have something to offer you. Not only, whenever we get to a certain number, am I going to bring real twigs to our set, but also, if you leave a review, screenshot it, post it over in our Discord, and then I will privately message you for your address, I will send you our first printing of the Twig sticker.
Oh, so, no way.
If you want a Twig sticker, go fill out a review on Spoofy. I think you may have to listen to a few episodes before it will let you, but drop us that 5-star, preferably, and I'll send you a sticker in the mail, the Twig sticker officially printed. I love the little purple leaf. It's a great feature there of our logo, so it's all good.
That's super cool.
There's your incentive. With that, we're going to get started, as we always do, with our What Have You Been Watching, Playing, and Reading this weekend. And I am going to let our special guest introduce themselves and tell us theirs.
Hey, everybody. Sneaky or Mike, whatever one you want to call me. Let's see. This is actually, I'm kind of sort of been in crunch mode for school, so I haven't been doing as much. So I've been dipping in like Fallout 4 occasionally. I've been jumping into like Final Fantasy 14 just a little bit, like just for some brain breaks. Even did a little bit of Tunic the other night while I was hanging out talking to some friends, and so that's all I've been really playing. I haven't been really able to dive into anything, but we will talk about something later that is going to capture my attention, and I'm kind of scared. Let's see, reading, still making my way through Angry Planet. I think you mentioned last week how you were, one of these weeks, you kind of mentioned you were struggling your way through that book. Yeah. I have officially hit that point.
It's not that it's bad. It's just
it's not that it's bad, but I've hit the struggle bus on it. So I'm going to keep going. But it's hit the struggle bus. But I did pick up a book that I'm kind of sort of embarrassed to say that I have not read yet. But I picked up Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. So finally getting to read that for the first time. So I'm very excited to dive into that. Like Neil Gaiman books, he does a fantastic job. So DC in Final Fantasy 14, I am barely out of starter areas. I have been kind of like, you do this with an MMORPG where you want to try everything before you kind of settle in, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I've been making like a bunch of new characters, trying different the magical sides of it, trying like the more fighting side of it, and so I've been trying the different various races to see kind of just which one do I want to like sink into. So I'm not far at all, and it's one of those games that it's like definitely just a when I can kind of a game. So I'm hoping to dig into it more. I've heard a lot of good things about the game, and I'm really hoping to like just kind of like think my way little by little into the game story. So we'll see where it goes. But in terms of watching, I've been continuing my Battlestar Galactica kick, just remembering how fantastic this show is, and really, actually, weirdly enough, that's been it. So not a lot. But what about you?
So I am continuing my journey through all of the anime that are coming out this season, continuing to enjoy Bartender. That was, of course, our latest nerdy sermon. So I'm clearly a fan of that one. Got several other that are kind of on the back deck of like, maybe they could be nerdy sermons, maybe not. God's Games We Play is still a super fun one. And keeping up with the Little Lies We Tell, all that kind of stuff. I've also been interested for some reason out of nowhere in watching the Fargo TV show. And so I decided to go back just for kicks and giggles and watch the movie again. So that was fun. Just a nice little journey down memory lane of that one. I never get tired really of watching it, except for some of the gory scenes that turn my stomach just a little bit. But that's kind of what I imagine the show is going to do as well. It's going to be super unbecoming, like nothing's really going to happen until it does. And then it's going to be like, oh, that's disgusting. So we'll see where that goes and if I actually get the time to watch that show, but I'm hoping to. I have been reading Angry Planet, and I also just started one of our peer channels here. For those of you that follow Christian Ninja, XGN Ninja, The Art of Digital Influence, he just published a book not too long ago, Content Creation and Community Building for Christian Creators. And so I have been reading this book and going through it one bit at a time. There is kind of an element of like, I've been doing this for a while. We've kind of come up into the scene at the same time. So a lot of the stuff is fairly rudimentary, but that's not a bad thing. It's definitely a good like crash course in a 101 so far. And it's got some great recommendations on the back, the little endorsements, Bubba Stall Cup and Pastor Dustin and Crossing Tommy. So we got some cool stuff going on right there, and we love to see it. So I'll let you know whenever I get through it, but that's one that I've been excited to journey through. And then playing, I'm the same as you, where I've been playing these kind of like back road, like not paying attention games, where I've been getting pretty into Survivor.io, which is a Vampire Survivors predatory, a mobile game that just wants my money so desperately, and I refuse to give it. And then I've also been playing Rogue, which is something that was recommended to me a while ago, and finally got into it. And it's just what it sounds like. It's a Pokemon turned into a roguelike. It's good enough. It's maintaining my attention because I just love Pokemon, but it's not something that I'm like going to write home about. What I am going to write home about is a game that I literally finished this afternoon, 1000 Times Resist. Bump this one up your list if you are a fan of Life is Strange, if you are a fan of Westworld, if you are a fan of, Detroit Become Human, if you are a fan of really any like walking sim or coming of age story or resistance story or philosophical story, or if you just happen to be super passionate about the 2019 Hong Kong riots, really any of those things, you're going to want to play this game. It is exceptional. It is a 5-star, so it's one that I have given my exceptional rating. It is one of the best games that I've played this year. It will be a shame if it does not win Games for Impact. I cannot imagine any other game doing what it's done, at least not this year, and we will see where this one goes. It is very much a walking sim. If you go into it expecting some kind of action game, you're going to be sorely mistaken and disappointed in it. But if you're in it for a good story, which is fully voice acted, which for a indie is incredible. Fully voice acted, 3D modeling, some cutscenes here and there. The models are a little, leave a little something to be desired. The music is really good. The voice acting is really good. And the story is exceptional. I cannot recommend this one highly enough. I will keep on. There's going to be a nerdy sermon on it, undoubtedly. I mean, there's no way there wouldn't be, given the themes that it's talking about and given the words. The reason that it drew me in is because in the trailer, they mentioned communion. And I was like, that's an interesting word to put in your video game. I got to play that. And so, yeah, there's a lot of communion in this one, and it's really, really good. I highly recommend it. With that, I'm going to go through the chat a little bit and see what other people have been playing and getting into. Sugar Haiku, watching Spice and Wolf, reading Angry Planet, and playing Ugly, which I've got to get back to. I feel like I shot myself in the foot by doing a Let's Play because now it means that I have to do it on certain time. I've had no time this month, so I'm going to. Sea of Stars, Prince of Persia, very nice. Watching, Coyote is watching Stargate Atlantis still, playing Solitaire mostly, and fell down a MDZS Zhengxing fanfic. That is something I am totally unfamiliar with there. Sugar Haiku says, Fargo, Coyote is in season 1 of Atlantis, and DGC is watching streams, YouTube, and nerdy sermons, playing Apollo Justice and Honkai Star Rail, and reading fanfiction and the Bible. Very nice. Cool. Well, that's good stuff. Continue to let us know what you've been watching, playing, and reading. If you're just walking in, if you're just joining us now, I'd love to hear what's going on. But we're going to get into our first news story of the day.
By the way, before we jump into the news story, I just wish listed 1000 Times Resist because when you were talking in your glowing endorsement, I pulled it up on Steam. Yeah.
You gotta play it. It's so good. It's real good, and it's short. I beat it in 8 hours, I think. So,
nice.
Short game, very manageable. Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
Nice, awesome. All right, so let's talk a little ScarJo here. Scarlett Johansson was shocked, angered, and in disbelief upon discovering that OpenAI's ChatGPT voice, Sky, sounded eerily similar to hers. Johansson revealed that OpenAI CEO Sam Altman had contacted her in September to provide her voice for ChatGPT 4.0, which she declined. Despite her refusal, the Sky voice, which many noted resembled Johansson's voice from the film Her, was released. Johansson hired legal counsel, leading to OpenAI to reluctantly remove the Sky voice. In response to the controversy, OpenAI stated that Sky's voice was not intended to imitate Johansson, but was performed by a different professional actress. OpenAI is pausing the use of Sky while addressing the issue, underscoring the need for transparency and appropriate legislation to protect individual rights in the era of AI and deepfakes. And we've kind of mentioned this here before, a little bit in the sense of like, yeah, right. This is another one of these instances where technology is outpacing legislation, and how are we going to handle things like this? When it comes to things like First Amendment rights, when it comes to things like all the things that the SAG-AFTRA just put together about AI and all of this, and in the back end of the strike that happened not too long ago. So this is just another instance where we're in a gray area still, and at what point will we discover, and what will kind of push towards getting the appropriate legislation for all of this, because it's the AI and deepfakes are just going to progress faster than we can move. And so yeah, I'm glad, in a way, I'm really glad she's standing up for herself and she's pushing back on it. Good for her, rather than just letting it happen, and kind of reminding people like, no, you just can't take somebody's likeness, whether it be their voice, their face, whatever, and just use it for whatever you want. So I'll be curious to see exactly what OpenAI will do. Will they go back and re-record Sky's voice? Will they just end Sky and now pick a new name? And how the dust will settle with this whole story will be really interesting.
Yeah, what I find so interesting about this one in particular is that they asked her. I don't think that's been released before, that they had reached out to her before. It definitely is the red flag and the Occam's razor of it all. It was maybe it could have been a coincidence this whole time that their AI voice Sky happened to sound like her. But then all of a sudden, they actually did contact her, and AI is known for deepfakes. It's oh, okay, well, this is obviously the simpler solution here is they totally just made her voice. They had somebody do an impression of her, and that was how they skirted around the reality. And definitely some tension there. But I think that this is what's also surprising to me is how long this took. Sky is not new. GPT-4 is not new. And there's actually been somebody on TikTok that has been memeing this from day one. And I looked them up just to see, and they were on day 152. So this has been a while. This has been going on, that he's been talking to this voice and saying it sounds just like the character from her. So I wonder how long maybe this has been going on, or if it just was a straw that broke the camel's back with the presentation the other day that added in personality to Sky's character beyond the way they already have. Interesting. Yeah, I agree with Tennille.
Tennille made a great comment. He said, it was it's more like, oh, we already made this thing using her voice. Maybe we should ask her permission so we don't get in trouble. And then she says no. Yeah. I would actually agree with that sentiment, that is probably exactly what this is like.
Yeah. Well, it's a bunch of nerds, and so they went for the meme, and the meme is obviously the character from the movie. So it made a lot of sense. I'm not defending their actions, certainly not the way they went about it, but it makes sense they would go for her, but it doesn't make sense that after being told no, they wouldn't follow through with that. So in more bizarre stuff and unexpected news, IGN Entertainment has acquired the Gamer Network family of digital brands, including GamesIndustry.biz, Eurogamer, Rock Paper Shotgun, VG247, and Dicebreaker for an undisclosed sum. The acquisition also includes shares in Outside Xbox, Digital Foundry, and Hookshot, which operates Nintendo Life, Push Square, Pure Xbox, and Time Extension. IGN Entertainment, a division of Ziff Davis that includes IGN, Map Genie, How Long to Beat, and Humble Bundle, purchased the brands from ReedPop, the organizer of PAX and New York Comic Con, which had acquired Gamer Network in 2018. UK-based events EGX, MCM, and the digital brand Popverse are not included in the sale. Yeah, Tennille, you definitely get right after it and acknowledge some of when we hear the word acquisition, we hear the word layoff. And I'm agreeing with you there, but also these names. These are the sites that I have seen pop up again and again. Who doesn't use GameIndustry.biz? Who doesn't use Rock Paper Shotgun, Eurogamer, Digital Foundry, Outside Xbox, Nintendo Life? Those are ones that I see every single day. I remember when they bought Humble Bundle and I was like, what are they doing? This is insane. It's a really, really strange thing seeing IGN pop up as a kind of fourth ancillary superpower in the video game world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We were just reading this earlier, and my thought was like, have we had enough evidence over the last few weeks that acquisitions don't go well? Like, why? Why? Yeah. So absolutely will be interesting to see the fallout from all this.
It's intriguing to me to see that they were owned by Popverse. Like, I feel like that's such a weird thing that Comic-Cons are the ones that are buying journalists. I don't know what that means. That's such a strange, like, why is that? Why are they the ones that own them? And now IGN is swooping up all of them. So we probably won't be reading negative words about IGN ever again, but that's just kind of the reality of it. Fortunately, I don't think they do too much to it. And I will say, Coyote, I'm interested to see how they do. I heard the same thing with Humble Bundle, and they did not ruin Humble Bundle. So, and I wasn't on How Long to Beat before IGN owned it, so I don't really have any like frame of reference. But at least with Humble, they did fine. So I don't know. We'll see where it continues to go. And if they do kind of spiral into nothingness, I wonder what the structure is of IGN Entertainment versus IGN, the journalist site. I wonder what is kind of the overhead that doesn't overlap. I'm sad to see Rock, Paper, Shotgun. I follow a lot of their journalists in a lot of different places. And I can remember when Kotaku had their big split. So yeah. It's tough to see, but maybe we'll get some good podcasts out of it, and some good what are they called? Patreons. We'll get some new Patreons to support some of these wonderful people that are going to be being laid off. It's such a frustration in the current gaming scene. But all right, with that one, let's get into our next.
All right, talking about more acquisitions. Nintendo has announced the acquisition of Shiver Entertainment, the Miami-based studio behind Nintendo Switch ports of Hogwarts Legacy, Mortal Kombat 1, and other titles. Acquired from Embracer Group, Shiver Entertainment will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Nintendo. Founded in 2012 and acquired by Embracer in 2021, Shiver has collaborated with publishers and developers on large-scale title development. Nintendo aims to leverage Shiver's expertise to enhance its porting and software development capabilities. Despite this acquisition, Shiver will continue to work on multi-platform commissions, including for the Nintendo Switch. This move comes as Nintendo prepares to reveal its Switch successor console within the current fiscal year. Financial details of the acquisition were not disclosed, but Nintendo indicated it would have a minor impact on its fiscal results. Again, one of these, like, people just snapping up everything right now, and to see what it's going to do. This one, I don't know why. I don't know why it sounds less scary for some reason. Like, the fact, the interesting line to me in that whole story is the fact that Nintendo is going to basically like be wholly owned, or is going to wholly own Shiver. So it's kind of like, what are you going to do there? But while also letting them continue to multi-platform their ports. So yeah, it's a very interesting, because usually like Nintendo, I feel like tends to be very in-house. And so, yeah, I'm very curious to see like how they're going to continue to let Shiver do their work, but keeping them fully contained.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Nintendo has kind of become the indie machine and welcomed in a bunch of other games with that kind of like handshake that they've done. I would say that I don't know how this will go. Maybe it'll backfire. Maybe it'll go poorly. Maybe Nintendo has a bad track record of acquisitions, but if I know Nintendo like I know Nintendo, if I were going to be bought out by one of them, it would be the one I would choose, because I feel like they're a business. Like, they're not trying to like pretend that they're some kind of big happy family, and they're not trying to be entertainers, and they're not trying to create the next great podcast or any of those sort of things. Like, they have Nintendo, they had Nintendo, whatever it was called with Kit and Krista. Like, they've done their little forays into trying to do social media, and they're like, this doesn't work for us. We're a game development company. Like, that's what we do. And so I think that with the layers of like Americanization, of capitalization of like Xbox and even arguably Sony, that leads to these kind of layoffs and this sort of capitalist system. Like, at least there's somewhat of Nintendo's just kind of, we're business people doing business people things, and we'll have fun here and there. But unless it's Reggie Fils-Aimé we're talking about here, like, we're all going to be kind of level-headed, and we're going to take care of our own. So I do think there's an interesting level of like again, I think Nintendo is probably going to do well with this. I don't think they would make a poor financial decision, and they knew what they were doing. They're probably just working on even more ports. So we're going to see more and more ports in the Switch 2, and who really would have been surprised anyway. Good stuff there. I do remember that the Hogwarts Legacy port I don't think was too bad, but the Mortal Kombat 1 port was like absolute dog water. So
it was rough.
I don't know. Rough. I don't know why they're... I tried to look through some of their other track record, and the only one I could find was Scribblenauts, and I'm sure that one wasn't too rough to port. That feels like a fairly simple game to port over.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting. I'm sure we probably won't hear more out of this one since this is kind of a sleeper, but I would anticipate, probably not with this Nintendo Direct, but maybe next year's Summer Nintendo Direct, be prepared for even more ports, probably thanks to Shiver. Next up, Adult Swim is launching a new Toonami Rewind block on May 31st, 2024, featuring classic anime series such as Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z Kai, and Naruto. Announced via Toonami's Facebook page, the block will air every Friday from 5 to 7 p.m., starting with the Viz English dub version of Sailor Moon at 5 p.m., followed by 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai from 5:30 to 6:30, and then concluding with Naruto at 6:30. Toonami Rewind will also feature nostalgic elements, including classic music and packaging from the original Toonami block, which aired from 1997 to 2008 and returned in 2012 on Adult Swim. I love Toonami. So this makes me real happy. Is this going to be what it's going to take to have me buy cable? No, I'm not going to buy cable. So I'm not going to watch this, but I'm sure somebody will post a couple clips when it first launches, and I'll enjoy seeing Tom back on TikTok or something for a couple days. I don't know if that's what they're trying to do here, but until they upload it straight onto Paramount or something, and they give us like a 2-hour block that they call like Toonami Rewind, I'm not going to invest in cable again. I don't foresee that happening no matter what. You can't get my nostalgia to put that cable back in my house.
Right. So I'm looking at the chat and everyone's like, yeah, I'm excited for you guys. Anime, not my thing. Now, if we're gonna bring back Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner in this form, I'm down to clown. No, I'm always excited when this kind of stuff happens, and then people get really excited about this. But yeah, I agree. It'll be interesting to see is this gonna be people who have cable are the only ones going to do this, or are they going to do something to make it more internet friendly? Yeah, I'm super curious.
Yeah, I'll be very interested to see if they keep it up and how they are able to make it work, because I have a feeling a lot of millennials are definitely not signing up for cable. I don't think they're going to get us back. Maybe there'll be some Gen Xers, but I don't know. I don't think so. I really don't know anybody that still has cable. And so I don't think this is going to be the thing that makes ends meet for them. Maybe they'll launch their own streaming service. That would be pretty cool. Just an Adult Swim streaming service. I would buy that, even though I don't want another streaming service. I would if they had the nostalgia elements in there. And you mentioned Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. I remember they had interstitials too. They had the random Hanna-Barbera stuff that would come up every now and again with random, cutaways where it would be like the H and the B, and there would be like characters within them playing inside of them or whatever. So yeah, they could do some of the interstitials and they could bring it back for some Hanna-Barbera. I could get down with that.
Yeah, and to say, plug our Discord here. Come to Discord, where we actually had a mini conversation today. We were talking about how all of the streaming services are pretty much now cable.
Well, they are. I didn't include that in tonight's news stories, but there are 2 groups that are partnering together and coming up with packages.
I actually thought for sure you were going to include that for tonight. I thought for sure we would be talking about that.
I came close, but I didn't end up throwing it in just because I think it's still developing. So we'll probably be talking about it soon. But that is definitely something that is going to be coming up in the near future, because that is something that is a reality. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know how they're going to get away with it, but somehow they'll find a way.
Right.
All right, into our next one.
All right. So I alluded to this earlier as being this is the thing that's going to bring me back into full more gaming. But Fallout is coming to Fortnite, people. Fortnite has announced in an upcoming collaboration with the Fallout franchise. The news was shared on Fortnite's official X/Twitter account, featuring an image of a dusty landscape with a character in Brotherhood of Steel T60 power armor. The in-game news feed confirmed that Chapter 5, Season 3, Wrecked, will begin on May 24th, 2024, courtesy of the Brotherhood of Steel. While specific details of the crossover remain unclear, fans can expect various Fallout-themed content, such as skins, items, and possibly music from the series. Yes, please. The collaboration follows the recent release of Amazon Prime Video's Fallout TV series, potentially hinting at appearances by characters from the show. Can I please? I could care less about the power armor in Fortnite. Can I play as the ghoul, please?
Yeah, 100% it's happening. There's no doubt in my mind. We don't see the ghoul Fortnite dancing in like 2 months.
So I not somebody. I dabble in Fortnite, and usually it's times when my kids will ask if I can help or if we can play, and I always say as long as it's the no build mode because I don't build. And then I'll dabble in things like Gun Game and a few things that they have on there. But when things like this come out, I actually get super excited about playing Fortnite, and so I will definitely be diving into this. In fact, I didn't learn about this I think till maybe Sunday. When my youngest son, who does play played Fortnite, told me about it because he knows I like Fallout stuff. So he's like, "Dad, guess what's coming?" And I was like, "Oh yeah!" So I'm excited.
I'm interested to see what they do. This Fortnite has never managed to get me. They've tried everything. They've done all the anime. They've done all the things that would have gotten me in. If they haven't gotten me by now, they're not going to get me. But I will enjoy watching TikToks of this one as well. I look forward to seeing people using the Fortnite skins, or not the Fortnite, the Fallout skins for a little while. I look forward to seeing the ghoul do some dances. I look forward to seeing what comes out of it, but I doubt it will get me to reinstall. I've played my one match, and that's about all you're going to get out of me. So time will tell with this one what we actually get out of it, but I think it is almost a sure thing that we get the 3 main characters, if not some of the Fallout 4, Fallout 76, New Vegas, any of those characters. I don't know who exactly they would put in. Maybe some Easter eggs.
I'm super curious to see who they're going to include.
In the background, something like that, but should be cool. Should be cool. With that, we'll get into our next one and our last one of our main section here. I don't know if Mayfly is still here. I saw her down on the bottom at one point. Larian Studios, developer behind the acclaimed Baldur's Gate 3, has opened a new studio in Warsaw, Poland. This marks the company's 7th studio globally, joining locations in Barcelona, Dublin, I don't know that one. Is it Ghent or Gent? Guildford, Kuala Lumpur, and Quebec. The new studio will support the development of 2 very ambitious RPGs, although these will not be sequels to Baldur's Gate 3. Larian's CEO has confirmed that the company is moving on to the Baldur's Gate series, or from the Baldur's Gate series. The Warsaw studio aims to foster a creative environment for developers, continuing Larian's tradition for focusing on systems-heavy RPGs. For more details, you can check out Game Informer's review of Baldur's Gate 3 and its placement on their top 10 RPGs list. Not quite sure why you included that in their ChatGPT, but here we go. That's in there now. So yeah, this one is, more of a story for Mayfly than just about anything else, because I thought it was interesting that they have 7 studios. I had no idea how many studios they had. Man, that is a heck of a team. So yeah, more power to them, I guess. It shows right. Just how
all I'm saying is if they can take what they've learned from Baldur's Gate 3 and follow that up, Larian's got no problems. I think personally, Larian has generated enough goodwill with Baldur's Gate 3 that I think people will be super excited for their next projects and will definitely jump in on them. I mean, I know I will.
Yeah, 100%.
So I think Larian is one of the rare studios who have kind of risen above the muck, so to speak, of what's been happening right now, even though they were kind of in the muck for a little while, no fault of their own. But I think with what they're doing and what they're aiming for, I think they're positioning themselves to do some really, really cool things.
I agree. I think we've got an exciting couple of years ahead with Larian, and I hope that things continue to go forward for them and that they figure out how to make a good 3rd act. If only they could do that. Now I'm really trying to bait Mayfly. I'm seeing what I can do.
You really are.
I'm seeing how I can possibly get her attention. If she's listening and she hasn't said anything, then I didn't know her like I thought I did. But yeah, this is good stuff, and I'm curious to see where BG3, spins off into, if there is a BG4 picked up by a different studio, what Larian puts out for their new projects. And it sounds like they got a huge team working on them, so maybe it won't be that much longer yet. With that, that's the end of our news section, and on to everybody's favorite part of the show, Cryptic Critiques. That's right, it's time for Cryptic Critiques. This is the part of the show where I have selected a much beloved game and found some 1-star reviews of it that our special guest is going to try to guess it before I get through with all of the 3 prompts or after the 3rd prompt is revealed. I will ask that those of you in the chat do not play until, or do not send your answers until our guest has got an opportunity to give their final guess. You can guess along the way of like in the chat and just don't hit enter. And then like by the time everything's all said and done, then you can hit enter and we can see your process if you'd like to do it that way. But just don't spoil anything. And I worry if I see it in the chat, my eyes will light up or something. So don't guess until Sneaky gets a chance. Are you ready, Sneaky? Oh, I think we can't hear you.
Oh, yep, I muted myself. I need some redemption, so let's go.
There we go. I think you're going to get this one. We'll find out. I think there's some pretty big clues in here, but time will tell. Our first prompt for this one, prompt number 1, cookie clicker in space. Cookie clicker in space.
Okay, so space game, which sort of narrows it down because of the fact that the space games I play. Okay. All right, no guesses yet, but I'm leaning.
You're formulating something. All right, let's go with our number 2. This will probably cement it. We'll find out. Prompt number 2. I'm always impressed by the amount of content they add and disappointed that it's still kind of boring. I'm always impressed by the amount of content they add and disappointed that it's still kind of boring.
So space game, lots of content added. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think you're
gonna need 3rd prompt. I think you got it.
I might not need number 3, but I'm gonna go with No Man's Sky.
It is indeed No Man's Sky. Chat's in the clap. Got it before the 3rd prompt. We love to see it. Just as a bonus prize, I'll give you the 3rd prompt here.
Oh yeah, I gotta hear the 3rd one.
Prompt number 3 is, this game is navigating menus for 25 minutes until they let you fly an X-Wing. This game is navigating menus for 25 minutes until they let you fly an X-Wing. I have not played much No Man's Sky. You love No Man's Sky.
I
and the
love
reviews are so mean of this game.
Oh, and again, we've talked about, we've talked about the redemption of No Man's Sky and how they have gone from the disastrous start that they've had to what they are today. But I will tell you, in all fairness, it can be a rough game, and like it does take, and that's why I love the last prompt though, is navigating menus for 25 minutes because it's not wrong. Like when I explain No Man's Sky to people, I say you have to almost take the first hour and chuck it out the window because it has such a steep learning curve. But once you get past that part and you start flying, that's when like the magic happens. And so yeah, I'm one of those people. I can hop on a ship in No Man's Sky and just planet hop and explore and do that for hours and just be absolutely ridiculously happy.
I think it is a particular game for a particular audience. Like I think there are people that like love Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's like the only game they play. And I cannot imagine playing Microsoft Flight Simulator longer than about 10 minutes. But there are people out there that are like, this is the game I play, and I love this more than anything. And so I have a feeling that it's the same way with No Man's Sky. Like this scratches somebody's itch just right.
Yeah, very much so. And like, especially like, so my itch in this game that it scratches is exploration. And the flight in it is probably like, I will fully say this. I like the flight better in No Man's Sky than I ever did in Starfield.
I didn't care for the flight in Starfield at all.
Yeah, and like to me, it's a lot better. But like, there are people who play No Man's Sky who only really play it for the Minecrafty-esque building part of No Man's Sky, which I have zero interest in. I don't build anything, but then I look at the stuff that some people build, and it blows my mind. And just like, there's a part of me that just wishes I could be that creative and putting those things together. And so I am one of those people that if you tell me like where the coordinates are for your super awesome thing you've built, I will go visit it and go see it for myself. Because yeah, some people are just incredibly impressive. But now I got to go so I can go play.
Right? So there you go. There's No Man's Sky, and now I'm just about out of games that I know that you've played. So I'm gonna have to really go through.
We're gonna start getting creative now.
Your comment history on our Discord or something. Start like scrolling through and being like, everything that Sneaky's ever said, please, because I'm gonna need to know. But we're gonna get into some of our next segment of the show. This is To the Discord. This is news that was submitted by you over in our Discord server under our news section of the channel that you can put news into. I typically put out an all call for this every Monday morning, and these are some of the ones that we got. This is a Twyla sweep today. I don't know what Twyla did to get on my good graces. I'm not quite sure. But for some reason, all three of our To the Discord news pieces are from Twyla today, and they're all good ones. So
and I was trying to figure out how to introduce this. Like, is this a twilogy?
Oh, I like that. That's very good.
I was trying to come up with one, so that was the only one that I could get to like roll off the tongue nicely. So
I love it. Yeah, Cam is really going to love that one. Big fan.
All right, first story by Twilight. Microsoft has announced the Proteus controller, a $299 customizable gamepad designed for Xbox gamers with disabilities. Created by BioWave, this modular controller features interchangeable parts that allow over 100 configurations, catering to one-handed gamers and others with specific needs. The wireless controller is compatible with Xbox Series XS, Xbox One, and Windows 10 and Windows 11, and includes remappable buttons via a companion app. Pre-orders are available at a discounted $255, with shipping expected this fall. Microsoft is also updating its $99 Xbox adaptive controller to support more accessories and enhancing its functionality for adaptive gaming setups. Yes, please, more of this. Mm-hmm. More accessibility for more gamers. I think this is cool.
The only thing that I wanted to see that I don't think the article mentioned was like, is this FSA eligible? Like, does this count as like insured? Like, can you purchase this through health savings and stuff like that? Because that is a necessity. So. It feels pricey. I don't think it feels pricey for what it is. It just feels pricey for the demographic that it's for. And so that's where my concern really lies of like, I wish it were more affordable. Like the $100 adaptive controller felt more affordable. $300, that's like a whole nother console.
Yeah, and actually, funny enough, I was going to say something about that when as I was reading it. I was like, "Oof, man, that hits hard. Like that hurts the wallet quite a bit." So I'd be curious to see like because I didn't get a chance to look at the controller to see if they actually had anything for it. So I will be checking it out later to see because I'm very curious actually. But in that the interchangeable parts with the 100, over 100 configurations. So it's like, is the price point? Because of that, like they're giving you
so many different
like parts. Is it just worth the price in the sense of what they're giving you? Is that what they're trying to aim for? So but yeah, I would sincerely hope that yes, would this be like FSA, HSA, something insurance compliant that you could use? That would be phenomenal.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that would be the smart thing to do. It'd be the right thing to do. It'd be the moral thing to do. So Lord willing, that is the case with this one, and I do love to see more accessibility. I'm surprised to see Steve Spawn's name nowhere near this one. I wonder if I go to his Twitter, if he has shared it, because it feels like right up his alley for something with able gamers that they would want to celebrate, and so maybe that celebration is right around the corner. Next up, part 2 of the trilogy. Microsoft has announced plans to integrate its AI technology into video games, beginning with Minecraft. The AI feature, part of Microsoft's Copilot program, was demonstrated at the Microsoft Surface and Windows AI event, where it acted as a user guide within Minecraft, offering details on crafting items and advising on necessary materials. The Copilot program, an AI chatbot launched in 2023, showcases Microsoft's commitment to incorporating AI into all of its products, as stated by CEO Satya Nadella. While the public release date for this functionality in Minecraft and other titles remains unknown, this move signifies AI's growing influence in gaming, highlighted earlier this year by Xbox's Haiyan Zhang at the DICE Summit. I know that it's easy to knee-jerk react to this and to say that this is bad. I think, again, I want to encourage us to really harshly judge generative AI and non-consensual generative AI and that kind of thing. But this, to me, doesn't really feel like that big of a deal. It's maybe a slippery slope. That's an argument that I think could be made against this, but like it's somebody that helps you play the game. It's an interactive menu. It's straight up just like a pause menu and a tutorial for a game that you can then talk to, and I think that's fine. My co-pilot for Minecraft is just named Chris, and so that tends to work out pretty well for me, that I just have people that I can ask. But before that, if I didn't have somebody to ask, then it would have been nice to have something that would have taught me. It's basically implementing wiki into the game.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I'm not.
That's a great way to. That's a great way to look at it. I think that's a wiki. I like that.
Yeah. So I'm not opposed to this one, but I am obviously opposed to generative stuff. I'm opposed to things that cut people's jobs. But ideally, this is actually one that probably provides jobs because it's integration and applying things that we already know. So yeah, I'm fine with this one, but I think we just need to continue keeping our finger on the pulse of like, okay, so we know Microsoft is serious about continuing to implement. Where, how, and why? In what way are we going to be seeing this coming in the future, and how are people being put on the pike for it? And hopefully they're not. So be curious to follow that one. Any thoughts before we move to the next one?
Yep. No, I like Quixote's comment. This feels like a companion AI than a generator. And yeah, I totally agree. Like,
this is Alexa being built into my Minecraft. Like,
right.
100%.
Yep. So cool. All right. Episode 3 of the trilogy, Game Scent. Andy Chalk tested the Game Scent device, which uses AI to emit scents based on game events. This story just makes me laugh. And found it to be disappointing and poorly executed product. This setup process was frustrating, requiring multiple Bluetooth and Wi-Fi connections, and the app provided minimal guidance. In tests with games like Far Cry 5, Morals, The Hunt 2, and Helldivers 2, the device emitted scents inaccurately and at random, leading to a generally unpleasant experience. The limited scent options and lack of synchronization with game events, coupled with the high price of $150, made it feel more like a novelty than a useful gaming accessory. Chalk concluded the Game Scent is not worth the investment. Can we put, the meme where it just says like nothing, nobody, let's make something that gamers can smell? Like, did anybody actually ask for this, or was this just somebody just like, you know what? Video games, like, while you play your game, you can smell things that are dead. Like, why?
Yeah, it's a really great article.
Cracks me up.
If you haven't gone back and read the article that Twyla did post, it's hilarious reading the analyst experience with it. And smell-o-vision has been around. Like, this is not new. This is something that's been around since the 60s. Like, they've been doing smell-o-vision. They've been implementing this on Disney rides. They've been implementing this in movie theaters. I don't know if they ever went through with it, but they talked about it with the Apple Vision Pro. So there were like all sorts of plans of like ways to make this work. And this one is just, to be frank, lazy. It's 6 cents if you go back and read through, and one of the cents is actually like a stabilizer, and so it's really 5 cents that went into this thing. So I mean, it just feels a little bit like paperweight. Like, why would you only give 5 cents? Why would you only give the minimum? I feel like I have a vision of the smell-o-vision of the past, and it's like 30 canisters mounted above a TV, and maybe that's just my imagination in some TV show, but bizarre. And then to implement it with AI, like, why not just have like, this is our smell-o-vision partner game, Uncharted 2. Like, this is going to be a game where we're going to put in smells and cue them with certain scenes. Like, that makes so much more sense than just being like, we're going to trust AI to spray one of the right 5 cents at the right time. It's so silly. So
But I 100% agree. If you get the chance to read the article is fantastic. Andy Chalk did a great job of breaking it down, and it's a pretty hysterical read.
Yeah. We'll see if this one actually goes anywhere from here, if they get a second shot, or if somebody else is like, I think that's not a terrible idea, and I know I could do it way better than them, so I'm going to do it. That could be a thing. I do think VR is like a viable way of doing this. I just feel like, how would you get enough scent into a canister to wear on your face? It just wouldn't work unless you're like standing above it as you're in your VR world. Yeah. But that's the level of immersion that I feel like I'm willing to commit to smell-o-vision. Whereas with just playing a game in front of me, I'm not quite interested in wafting in gunfire smell into my nose, right? It's just not right.
Right. And Quixote brings up a great point. Like, this would actually be really interesting in a game where cooking, and they mentioned Final Fantasy 15, but like, where cooking or like floral, like you can't tell me there's not an essential oils company out there somewhere that could pull this off. But yeah, like, could you have a game where somebody's cooking something, and you get the smell of something, out of that? Yes, okay, I could be
Well,
down
it's like
with that.
Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. Whenever Link
Right?
cooks, they put out a good smell,
Yeah.
and then if you make a like void meal, then it sprays out sulfur right at the very end, and it's just like the worst smell that could possibly be sprayed right at the end there.
Right? Like, I could be okay with that. That makes sense. But yeah, completely random, just stuff just shooting
Dubious
into my room.
food. That's
No,
it.
no thanks.
Yeah, dubious food. That's so good. So that would be it. Dubious food. Whenever you like see it pop up on your screen, it just sprays out just the most toxic sulfur smell. And
Love it.
Good stuff. All right, with that, we're gonna get into our next segment of the show.
At this point in nerd history.
It is time for, at this point in nerd history, things that have been released on this exact day of May 21st throughout time and space. Some pretty big games that were released. So the first one in 2021, Miitopia, was released worldwide on the Nintendo Switch. And on that same day, and Checkpoint Church would never be the same because Knockout City was also released. And I was a day oneer in Knockout City. Me and Bwish were day oneers with that back in 2021. That was like the game that we would play. There would be two people watching on Twitch, and it would be me and it'd be Bwish. Like, those were the good old days. And every now and again, Outocents would hop in, and we'd have a party of three playing through Knockout City. If you don't remember that game, it is the dodgeball game. And it was pretty fun. Had a really good time, but we just happened to hop in it at the right time and had a really good time with it. 2003, WarioWare is introduced for the Game Boy Advance. 2001, the very first Shin Megami Tensei, or SMT game, is released in Japan. 1998, Microsoft and Sega announced that they are collaborating on a home video game system. And in 1992, Metroid 2, Return of Samus is released on the Game Boy in Europe.
Nice. All right, movies. In 2010, oh, by the way, before I start this, what did you want me to do with the money?
You don't have to talk. I just copy and pasted it. I was in a rush.
Oh, okay. Cool. I was like, this is new. All right, 2010, we have Shrek Forever After. One of the, where they should have just stopped at Shrek. They kept going. In 2009, Terminator Salvation. In 2010, MacGruber. Oh man, there's a throwback.
Real throwback.
And then in 1980, the best Star Wars movie to be released, The Empire Strikes Back.
Yep. It's crazy. It's a big day, a big day for movies. And I think that, I didn't mean to include the net profit of the box office on here, but the site that I get them from does. But I do think there is some kind of weird tension in my heart of the fact that Shrek Forever After raked in 240 million and Terminator Salvation raked in 125. Literally half of Shrek Forever After, one of the worst Shreks. It's like,
right?
Not a great Terminator either. Not a great Terminator, but 100.
We love our Shrek.
And MacGruber didn't even include the money amounts there. There's no telling. That one probably made about $4. As an SNL film, anytime that happens, they do not do well. But they do become cult classics, so you got to give them.
They did. They definitely did.
Good stuff there and some good games as well. I'm a big fan of WarioWare. I still have never played the first Shin Megami Tensei. I've never played any of the SMTs. I really want to play SMT 5, and I think I own it, but not too deep into any of those. And I hardcore agree, Empire Strikes Back is my favorite Star Wars, if for no other reason than Yoda. Like, the best part of that movie. And as a kid, he made me laugh. As an adult, he makes me laugh. And it cannot, it cannot lose. It's a win-win situation. So 100%. Good stuff. It looks like in the chat they agree. We're excited about that one. Tennille is coming to bat for Shrek the Third, which, I don't remember it at all, but it was probably all right. Probably pretty okay. I'm going to give it a good, that was probably a decent watch. Cool. With that, we're going to get into our next segment of the show. These are upcoming releases, things that are coming out in the next week or so, roughly here. And we each picked 3 things. We used to go through literally everything that existed, but instead, we're only going to talk about 3 things that are coming out in the next week. And I will let our guests start with their first one.
All right. One thing I'm looking forward to is a game called X Defiant. This is basically a free-to-play first-person shooter. Very much, I think there's several games that this game was trying to be, but I think it finally landed its feet on trying to be, not that it ever will, but kind of like the next thing to kind of try to take down Call of Duty. And as someone, so I used to have a group of friends that, well, let me rephrase that. They are still friends. They're still there. But we used to play Call of Duty, like, and going all the way back to like SOCOM. So once a week we used to play, and we've been doing this for like 15 plus years. But we're all just kind of burning out on Call of Duty. Just a new game every stinking year. And so I have not played the new Call of Duty for this whole year at all. I'm just so over it. But every once in a while I get that itch to kind of play, and I know X Defiant included a bunch of people from previous shooter games, and we're really trying to kind of be like the anti-Call of Duty in terms of how the game is played and listening to the community. So I'm excited to see. It comes out this week. So I'm excited to see now that I was part of the beta and got to play it. I haven't really played it since, so curious to see like where they've landed things, and I hope it does. I don't think it's gonna take down Call of Duty, but I really hope it just does well, because I don't think the finals that was like that was announced really landed the way I think they hoped it would. I think they really bent that one towards an esport, but I haven't heard, like, I heard about it for a couple months after, and then ever since it's kind of been real quiet. So I'll be curious to see if X Defiant kind of is able to slip in there and fill that void and does well.
Yeah, it'll be curious. I think that the finals got in trouble with AI stuff, and that really soiled the pot, and people weren't really interested in going with it from there. So, I mean, look, Ubisoft is certainly not one of my favorite companies out there, and I won't be playing a FTP first-person shooter. Those are not my kind of games, but I hope that it does well. I will say that their logo does remind me of like Tumblr days memes with XD. I don't know what they were thinking.
Oh, absolutely.
They really shouldn't have done the fake. That's a little bit much, but they'll do what they're going to do. My first one is a random one coming to Crunchyroll. It is a new anime, Dead Demons Destruction. As the world is threatened by the sudden appearance of a mysterious alien mothership, best friends Kiyama Kurore and Nakagawa Anten Oren carry on about their high school life. But as they grow up, they face existential questions, learning adulthood's complexities, and the true threat may not be from above. So this one is silly. I don't know how it's going to be. I don't have super high expectations for it, but any title of an anime that gets me to like say da-da-da-da-da is pretty fun.
Right.
So I'll go with it, and I'll probably end up watching the first couple episodes and see if it grips me. All right, nice. You take our second one there.
Okay, I would say you and I are sharing the same one because, I think both of us are looking forward to this. But so the one we're both looking forward to came out today, the Senua's Saga for Hellblade 2. I still need to play the first one, and so I completely forgot that this was coming out today. So I have already carved out time this weekend where I am definitely going to download the first one and start playing it, because I know Mayfly absolutely loves this game, and I know it is definitely beloved by the people who have played it. So, and as we kind of mentioned last week, talking about reviews being for good or for ill, depending on how you view it. But I was just super curious today to see what the reviews were coming in for this game. And actually, like, for the most part, pretty positive. Yeah. So that actually got me really interested. So I will definitely be pushing anything else aside other than Fortnite and diving into Hellblade and checking this game out.
Yeah, this is a curious one. I'm super excited to play through it. I played the first one. It is really quite the phenomenal concept and really put together very well. It is a game that if you are mentally well, if you're in a good mental health space, then I recommend playing it for yourself and playing it with good headphones and really experiencing it for yourself, because it is exactly that, is a real experience, and it is best experienced by yourself. But if you need to watch Let's Play or something else, or just kind of hear the story, then I also would say that's a great way to still experience it if you're going to experience it in any format. But I have a feeling the second one's going to be very much the same. The thing that I was listening to an interview with some of the devs behind it earlier today on a podcast, and they were talking about the real difference between this one and the first one is that the first one, you really just heard her story. And in this one, you're going to experience more characters. So that's going to be interesting to see where we go from here and how this story continues to develop. I hope that it's very good, and I look forward to playing it. Eventually. It's on the list of the eventuallys. Unfortunately, it's not going to be one that bumps its way up to the top of my list, but it could, because I could write a nerdy sermon on this. We'll see. It's only 8 hours. It's a pretty short game as well, and so it's one that, but both of them are very short, so you can get through them relatively quickly. But if you're curious at all about mental health and psychosis, then these are the games for you to play, because they are fantastic explorations of all of those things. All right.
Nice.
Tackle your third one there, Sneaky.
All right, last one. Okay, so I know we're supposed to talk about what's coming out in the week, and I actually, honestly, I looked ahead, and there was really nothing I was excited about. But I did see something today that I had no idea came out already, and I got excited. So this is going to be my third one. Was talking to a guy at work today who has just started becoming a reader, and so he knows that I read all the time. So I've been giving him suggestions. I've been giving him books out of my library. And today at work, hanging out, I was like, oh, you need to read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. Probably one of his best books. It's phenomenal. I love Blake Crouch as an author. And so he Googled it when I was standing there. And the first thing I see is season 1, Dark Matter on Apple TV. And I lost my cheese. I got so excited. I was like, wait, what? They actually turned this into a TV show? And so I am now really super curious to watch the show and see, as I love to do, combine the show and the book and see how well, or not well, shall we say, they combine those two things. So I am super excited to check the show out. So it just came out on May 8th, came out at the beginning of the month. So I've obviously got time to catch up on it. But yeah, super excited about this one.
Good stuff. Love it. My third one is an indie game. Surprise, surprise. I'm sure none of you would have guessed, but it is Paper Trail, an indie game that comes out soon. It is sort of an origami-like puzzle game in which you are somebody that has left home and you have to solve puzzles by folding and tearing paper within the paper world. It kind of reminds me of the paper solving sections of Origami King, if you like Paper Mario. That kind of thing it kind of goes along with. It's sort of a introspective sort of game, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it's going to be one that I'm going to write home about either, but I do like stories about leaving home, and that is a sentimental touch point that I think will be fun to hear. And yeah, all around pretty good. I'm looking forward to a game that is similarly innovative in Plucky Squire, which will hopefully come out eventually, but that one is for the future even still. And then I will shout out, DGC mentioned the 1,000-Year Door remake does come out in the next week. So if you are a fan of Paper Mario, if you haven't played the 1,000-Year Door, if you're one of those very few, then you should definitely invest in that game. A phenomenal Paper Mario game, arguably one of the best that there's ever been, and definitely worth your time to play that one if you are at all interested in the turn-based style RPGs. Very fun, and it's just a good Mario. So great characters, good stuff all around. Should be good. Any other things that we needed to mention for upcoming releases, let us know over in the chat. Things that you might be excited about in the upcoming week, all that sort of stuff, let us know. But we are going to go into our final segment of the show. Meme of the week. Right, it is time for our meme of the week. Our meme of the week this week. I saw that there was some controversy over in the memes channel, thinking that this wouldn't be the one that won it, but it is indeed the one that won it because it did get 9 likes. That's the way I try to go, is whichever one gets the highest. So this one is from the National Park Service. This is responsibly making the noise around wild animals is not recommended. You might think that you're an animal whisperer, but you just insulted their mother and are now surrounded by a horde of angry squirrels. Insert favorite animal. In conclusion, translation, your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of algae batteries. Sorry, we heard that wrong. It's remember to treat wildlife with proper caution and respect. Our apologies to the hamster. Very nice stuff. Good tweet, good message, good post all around. Fantastic meme. The National Park Service never fails.
They don't. Whoever, again, I say this every time I see the National Park Service, whoever is their social media person deserves a raise every time.
Yep.
Gold.
Yep. And they couldn't really work into it, but I also do the little finger rub. So you got to do the with the finger rub, and that would be the ultimate way. That's what my cat at least constantly responds to, and it is the only way nowadays that I can get him to come over to me. So Gotta love it. Good stuff. This is our meme of the week from Trombone. If you would like to be considered for meme of the week, not next week, but the week after, then be sure to utilize our memes and goofs channel over in our Discord. That's another shout out for our discord.gg/checkpointchurch or !Discord at any point in the chat over here on Twitch or link down below in the YouTube comment section. You got lots of way to access that. And with that, we come to the end of our show. So as we close this time, Sneaky, any shout outs? Remind people who you are, where they can find you.
Well, first thing, thank you again for letting me be on here. I'm glad to hold the honor of the three-peat
Yes.
as co-host. But yeah, you can find me. I'm on our Discord. Like I actually have like really backed off on my social media intake for a little while, but the only one I really do spend time in is in our Discord. It is a fantastic place to be. So jump in our Discord if you haven't already, especially our post-Twig hangouts in Discord. Always a good time. Never know what's going to happen.
That's where we're headed from here. Indeed. We'll be going into the Discord channel.
But there you go.
Good stuff. Well, I will give one final shout out. If you would like to get a Twig sticker, the first printing of the Twig sticker, then be sure to go to our Spotify and give a 5-star review. Take a screenshot, send it to me. If I don't have your address already, make sure that I get your address. I will send this to you in the mail. Get you yourself some Twig swag and also help us climb those ranks and climb those charts and be seen by more nerds, geeks, and gamers out there. Folks, this has been Twig, your weekly, geekly, family-friendly news show delivered live here on twitch.tv/checkpointchurch each and every week, keeping your family connected to the world of nerdy news. If you watched this far, you likely enjoyed this one, so remember to give us a 5-star on your favorite podcast app and enter for a chance to get one of these. Click that like button, recommend the show to all your favorite nerds. We are going to be wrapping up the show by thanking our subscribers over here on Twitch. We, of course, appreciate everyone that watches the show, shares the show, all those sorts of things. We want to give an extra special shout out to folks that are also subscribed here on the channel, giving their hard-earned money to us to continue supporting this ministry and the things that we do. So shout out to Jate Live, Tini Christina P, HBM 1009, Akeem 4752, Sugar Haiku, Maybe 30 Bats, Acre Dawnbringer, Tennille Rathon, Zando Calrissian, Nerd Pastor Day, Trombone, Dalek, Deacon Shannon, LS, Pineapple Pope, IV, Wisen Lemur, Kung Fu Carl 21, Paraspective, Humor Wit Ill, Twilight 27, Buish, Gobi Church, Strange Done, Mindful Marlena, Sneaky Pig 633, Splash Force Gaming 2, and Coyote 42. Oh, the list gets a little bit longer each week, and it just warms my heart. Let's keep bringing those subs in and getting those numbers up. We love to see it. Folks, is there going to be Twig next week? There will not be Twig next week. I'm going to be out of town this weekend. Won't be getting back in until Monday night, so I do not have the time to do the usually scheduled things at Checkpoint and also put on the show. So no Twig next week. Maybe we'll do a hangout that night. We'll figure it out as far as what we want to actually do and replace that time with, but I won't be able to put a show together. So more information about that over in the Discord, which you should already be in, and where we're going to head from now. With that, we're going to end this one with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there, whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church. No matter what, we believe these 3 things to be true about every single one of you. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you, like really, really love you. That's why we do things like this. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You are a person of sacred worth. The world's a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, with that, until the next time that I see you, whether it be right now over on our Discord, whether it be not next week, but the week after for Twig, or whether it be for some of the other exciting things going on here on the channel, I look forward to seeing you then. Bye-bye!